Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're sitting here talking about WWE's Royal Rumble 2010. And this was one I literally pulled out of the mothballs to watch tonight. Of course, you want to watch some Royal Rumbles every year to get ready for the big one coming up right around the corner. Lots of talk about who's going to be taking home the Royal Rumble this year. I think the women's one's pretty easy. You can look and see that it's probably going to be Becky Lynch getting the win there. The men's one's a little bit, hard to see. With CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. They're trying to make Drew McIntyre look like he's a name in this year's one. So, don't really know, but honestly, 2010 was when I pulled out because I just hadn't seen it in a while. It's in a time period of wrestling that I really like. 2010, it's kind of like when I really dove back into wrestling really, really deep. I went to my first WrestleMania. This year's Royal Rumble, and I'm watching 2010 sets up WrestleMania 26. I ended up winning a trip to go to Phoenix for this show through WWE Comics. You go back years and years, you can watch videos about me winning that contest and how big of a deal it was. It was when I first started making videos here on YouTube about wrestling. So it was really, really cool, and it was probably one of the reasons why I got a lot of traction back then is because I went to WrestleMania that year on WWE's dime too. But this show right here, I don't think they had announced that WrestleMania 27 was going to Atlanta. But when they showed that the Royal Rumble was at the Phillips Arena, and they showed the Georgia Dome next door, I can honestly tell you that my wrestling bubble of 2010 and 2011 got a little bit mixed up. So as I was watching the show, I kept on kind of thinking about what happened at WrestleMania 27 instead of what happened at WrestleMania 26. And I was kind of getting confused about where guys were, whether they were baby faces, whether they were heels, where they were on the card, where they were going to go. Because, of course, you watch these old, Royal Rumbles, you know who's going to face who at WrestleMania. So you're kind of like getting ready for big moments, big spots where guys interact in there. I really, really like this. One of the main reasons why I wanted to watch this Rumble was to see the CM Punk Straight Edge Society spot, where basically he came in early in the night, and then he basically would eliminate a guy. He would, go into a straight edge speech, try to get guys to join his group, eliminate them, and then the next one would come out. Honestly, in my mind, it went on a little bit longer than it actually happened at this match. But that's probably the one reason why I pointed at this one. But as I was watching this Rumble, it really told a story from the opening moments of the Royal Rumble before it happened, of seeing Shawn Michaels be backstage and him telling the story where he had to have a match against The Undertaker. They had a historic match at WrestleMania 25 where Shawn Michaels was one mistake away from ending Undertaker's streak, and he felt like if he had one more shot at it, he would be able to be the guy who broke the streak. That was that was bigger than being a champion. That was bigger than anything else, was to be able to beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. I guess at that time he's 20. I don't know how many WrestleManias. I don't know what the record was at that time, if it was 17, 18, something like that. But that was a huge deal for Shawn. He's basically going to Kane, and he's saying like, "Hey, this is your brother. I need to face him at WrestleMania. When it comes down to it, I'm going to eliminate you." He goes to his tag partner, his best friend in the business, Triple H, and he's basically telling him that he has to have this match. And when it comes down to it, even though they're DX brothers, they're wearing the DX gear in this match. That he's going to eliminate him if that comes down to it. You've got basically John Cena, you've got Batista, you've got Shawn Michaels, you've got Edge, Triple H. This thing is Hall of Famer stacked. It's Hall of Famer ready. with big moments coming up, like Edge's return after he had got injured when they were doing the whole WWE Tag Team Champions thing with him and Jericho. I believe it was in the summer the year before, because it was at the Bash 09 when they won the titles, I'm pretty sure. Edge got injured, and this was him coming back. I think we'll get into where everybody goes, because I think it ends up being pretty funny. The next month, WWE really changes. I don't know if they change their mind or they're just putting together the story that they want to tell. And I didn't watch the entire show, I apologize. But the match opens up with Dolph Ziggler and Evan Bourne both coming out. They're pointing at the sign. They start kicking each other. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that they both thought that this was their year to point at the sign. CM Punk ends up coming out third. It eliminates both of those guys. And then he starts going into his whole straight edge speech where raise your hand up in the air and claim to be a part of the straight edge society. JTG comes out. He's quickly eliminated. Punk goes back into his ordeal, where the Great Khali comes out next. Great Khali comes into the ring. He raises his arm up and boom, he chops Punk down to the ground. At that moment, number 6, Beth Phoenix comes out. Beth Phoenix ends up being able to eliminate the Great Khali by basically him picking her up and putting her outside of the ring. But then Beth kissing him ends up being a big spot they show for years to come in the Royal Rumble, where Beth flips Khali out of the ring, gets into the ring, actually does a few spots with CM Punk before Punk ends up being able to be the one to eliminate her. Zack Ryder comes down at this point. Ryder's still a member of ECW. This is his first Royal Rumble appearance. He basically gets quickly thrown out before, Triple H comes out, basically putting an end to the CM Punk show. Basically, Triple H is like the first guy that's in there that you really think has a chance to win this whole ordeal. Basically, him and Punk ended up mixing around the corner, and it's one of the first times that a few guys get stacked up inside of the Rumble. We see Drew McIntyre come down for his first Royal Rumble appearance. Ted DiBiase comes out, a member of Legacy. John Morrison, Kane, Cody Rhodes ends up coming down. When Cody comes down, he ends up saving Ted DiBiase from being able to be eliminated. MVP comes out at number 14. He ends up being eliminated because he's not able to actually get into the ring, because he had a match earlier in the night for the United States Championship, and The Miz just didn't like him anymore and just cracked him over the head with the championship. MVP never made his chance to make it down to the ring from there. Carlito came out number 15. The Miz, after his attack on MVP, came out number 16. The minute that he came out, he was eliminated by MVP, continuing their feud by saying that he wasn't able to be in the Rumble, so The Miz wasn't going to be able to be in there either. Matt Hardy came down at 17. He didn't last very long, but business really picks up when Shawn Michaels comes down at number 18. Him and Triple H ended up clearing house before having a little bit of a moment where it looks like DX is ready to explode inside of the ring, much like the Mega Powers, until John Cena's music comes out. When Cena gets in there, we see a little bit of a preview of the Survivor Series 2010, where they end up having the three-way match, but that's broken up when Shelton Benjamin comes down at number 20. Benjamin ends up doing a spot where it actually looks like he's going to hit a big impact move on John Cena. He makes his pounce, but Cena ends up just like catching Benjamin and just tossing him over the top rope. One of my favorites that I honestly had forgotten about before I saw him, Yoshitatsu came down at number 21. This Rumble doesn't have a lot of guys in the ring at once. I can't really think of any spots where there's more than 4 guys in the ring. And I don't know if that's by design, if that's the story that they're trying to tell at this point. But once we hit about 22 is when big names start coming in, but they don't spend a whole lot of time inside of the ring. We see Big Show. We see Mark Henry. They come into the ring, and they're big, intimidating guys. So anytime they come down, you're really thinking that they have a chance to get it. But then we see Chris Masters at number 24. Number 25, R-Truth, runs right down to the ring. At this point, I was like, where the hell is he at in his career? Because immediately he dumps out Big Show. He dumps out Mark Henry. This isn't like the heel run of R-Truth of, is that 2011, a year later, when he's like kind of in the main event picture? He just eliminated two big main event, we'll say television main event guys. Definitely Hall of Famers right there. Just dumps them both same time. My favorite guy, All-American, Jack Swagger, what could have been, comes out number 26. Kofi Kingston comes out at number 27. Business really picks up for the last three guys. We've got Jericho at number 28. We've got Edge. We've got Batista at number 30. Edge is making his big return. We haven't seen him in months since the injury from the summer the year before. Batista at number 30. All of these guys are hungry. All of these guys are in the title picture. If you really think about it, you've got Edge, Jericho, Batista, Cena in the ring, and you've also got Shawn Michaels. There's five guys right there in the final five. And those five guys are in the three biggest matches of WrestleMania 26. You've got your World Heavyweight Championship match. You've got your WWE Championship match. And, of course, you've got Shawn Michaels going after the streak. Edge immediately comes in and eliminates Chris Jericho, leaving your final four, where we see Michaels and Edge fighting on the outside of the ring. Michaels gives a super kick to Edge where he falls back into the ring. Batista charges at him, throws a few swings. Michaels, being able to not be able to move around because he's on the outside apron, ends up just falling off. At that point, he throws a referee in disgust. He tries to get back into the ring. Charles Robinson's trying to stop it. He ends up hitting Charles Robinson with a huge super kick before it's kind of like calming himself down, can't believe what he's going through, but he wants that match against The Undertaker, and he wants it bad. We're going to get left with a final three of John Cena, Batista, and Edge. It really comes down to John Cena eliminating Batista, and then Edge eliminating John Cena from there. It wasn't really a big, huge ordeal, like where it ends up being like a one-on-one match that we've come to see at the end of Rumbles, where all of a sudden it turns into a match instead of just like the end of this match right there. But I thought it was really cool because when it really comes down to it, at the next month Elimination Chamber, that's one of the best chambers of all time. We see Cena win the actual Elimination Chamber, winning the championship from Sheamus. Vince McMahon comes down to say thank you to Batista, grants him a championship match, even though he wasn't even in there, doesn't have the money in the bank. Nothing like that. Just here's a championship shot right now against the guy who just competed in the chamber. Batista ends up winning the championship. So that sets up Batista versus Cena for the WWE Championship. You've got Edge, who wins the Rumble, so he says he wants to go after Chris Jericho, who was not at this time the champion, but at Elimination Chamber, we see a really cool spot where Undertaker is in the chamber defending his World Heavyweight Championship. Shawn Michaels knows the only way now to get his match is to cost Undertaker the championship. So he hides in the chamber, comes out, super kicks him. Chris Jericho ends up winning the championship. So now Edge can go after his former tag partner. Shawn can put his career on the line, go after Shawn Michaels. Bam. That's one hell of a way. Normally your Royal Rumble sets up WrestleMania. But right here, you really had the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in February, setting up WrestleMania. One hell of a show. I know it's not people's favorite WrestleMania 26, but I think if you really look at it, it is a stacked Mania. A lot of big matches. You got Triple H and Sheamus just kind of shoved on there. But when it really comes down to it, it's one of my first Manias that I ever went to. So it has a soft spot in my heart. But I think it's up there. One of the best WrestleManias of all time.